January 8, 2024, News Report 1, Presidential candidates gather in Kaohsiung ahead of Taiwan election. On January 7, the eve of the Taiwan election, the three presidential candidates held large-scale rallies in Kaohsiung. Tens of thousands of people attended the lively event. The three parties are gearing up for the final battle in Tainan. Lai Ching-te, a candidate, urged Kaohsiung residents to uphold democratic values and actively vote. He emphasized the importance of rejecting Han Kuo-yu, the former mayor of Kaohsiung, from becoming the president of the Legislative Yuan, citing Han's removal from office 4 years ago. The Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, expresses optimism about the presidential election and shifts focus to the legislative elections, aiming to secure a majority of seats to prevent Han Kuo-yu from becoming the Speaker of the legislature. Kuomintang, KMT, candidate Ho Yui delivered his entire speech in Taiwanese at a party gathering, aiming to secure votes in the southern region. He urged people to support the KMT, promising to end corruption and operate transparently if elected. Ho specifically mentioned former President Chiang Ching-kuo, highlighting the significance of the election day, January 13, being the anniversary of Chiang Ching-kuo's death. The KMT's use of Chiang Ching-kuo in the campaign is seen as a response to Ko Wen-je's impact on the party. Ko Wen-je, an independent candidate, stated at his campaign rally that this election should transcend the blue-green divide and focus on protecting Taiwan. He emphasized that Taiwan does not belong exclusively to the Democratic Progressive Party or the Kuomintang. The primary competition in the presidential election seems to be shifting from blue-green rivalry to a blue-white contest. The DPP released a new TV ad on January 8, urging people to vote on January 13 to prevent setbacks, including the return of the recalled Han Kuo-yu. Lai and Tsai began a campaign tour around the island on January 8. Meanwhile, Professor Shen Boyong from Taipei University noted that as the election day approaches, the Chinese Communist Party's cognitive warfare against Taiwan has intensified. It continues to attack Taiwan's political parties, manufacturing narratives to discredit democracy and boost anti-American sentiment. Scholars at a forum on cross-strait policies on January 8 suggested that China emphasizing Taiwan as a part of One China is closely related to Taiwan's election. The Ministry of National Defense observed 9 PLA jets and 4 warships operating near Taiwan on January 7, with 3 balloons crossing the Taiwan Strait median line. News Report 2, tensions rise as North Korea fires artillery in buffer zone with South Korea. On January 8, the South Korean Joint Chiefs of Staff held a press conference, announcing that North Korea had consecutively shelled the buffer zone between North and South Korea for 3 days, violating the 2018 Inter-Korean military agreement more than 3,600 times. South Korea declared that the buffer zone no longer exists and decided to resume routine military exercises in the area in response to North Korea's provocations. North Korea had launched over 200 shells into the waters off the west coast of South Korea on January 5, with over 200 falling into the buffer zone. In retaliation, South Korea conducted naval exercises, firing over 400 shells. North Korea launched 60 more shells on January 6 and over 90 on January 7. The South Korean military engaged in artillery training in the western waters on the afternoon of January 7, resulting in a situation where both sides were firing. Under the 2018 Inter-Korean military agreement, the buffer zone was established 5 kilometers north and south of the military demarcation line, prohibiting artillery fire and maneuver training. However, the current situation indicates that the 2018 agreement is no longer in effect, as North Korea has repeatedly violated it. Analysts point out that the tension on the Korean peninsula not only raises international concerns but may also be related to political turmoil in other regions. Some believe that Kim Jong-un might attempt to divert attention from the Ukraine conflict or send signals to the Taiwan Strait, influencing Taiwan's elections. The developments pose risks for China and Russia, potentially diverting U.S. strategic attention. News Report 3, Controversy surrounds U.S. Defense Secretary Austin's surgery complications. Reuters reported that U.S. Defense Secretary Austin underwent surgery on January 1 at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, experiencing complications that have kept him in the hospital until January 7. According to U.S. disclosure rules, high-ranking officials, especially cabinet members, should release a statement within 24 hours of surgery or temporary incapacitation, disclosing when they were admitted, when anesthesia was administered, and appointing someone to act on their behalf. However, the Defense Department kept the situation confidential for 5 days. The Defense Department spokesperson, Laid, released a statement on the evening of January 5, mentioning that Deputy Defense Secretary Hicks assumed some responsibilities on January 2. President Biden only learned about Austin's hospitalization on January 4 and expressed strong displeasure. The incident is under review by the Biden administration and could lead to repercussions for related officials, possibly including Austin. Congress learned about the situation only on the afternoon of January 5, and Republican Senator Wicker criticized the Defense Department for not informing Congress as required by law. He argued that the hospitalization of the defense secretary involves national security, and the secrecy undermines public trust in the government. Austin issued a statement on January 6, taking full responsibility for the confidentiality surrounding his hospitalization and acknowledging that he could have handled it better. Laid made another statement on January 7, saying that Austin is recovering well in the hospital, and there is no information about his discharge. Austin became the first African-American U.S. Defense Secretary in January 2021, ranking second only to President Biden in the U.S. military command system. News Report 4, Israel dismantles Hamas command forces, escalating Middle East tensions. On January 6, Israel Defense Forces spokesperson Hagari announced that Israel had successfully dismantled Hamas's command forces in northern Gaza, limiting its activities to the north and eliminating commanders. The main focus of the Israeli military is currently on dismantling Hamas forces in central and southern Gaza. The refugee camp in central Gaza is densely populated with terrorists, while the southern part has complex underground tunnels. Compared to the north, where bombing and ground attacks took place, the Israeli military has adopted a more targeted approach in the central and southern regions, minimizing harm to civilians. Meanwhile, Hezbollah in Lebanon launched over 60 missiles and rockets towards the Melon airbase in northern Israel on January 6, causing damage to multiple monitoring devices at the base. Israeli Defense Minister Gantz stated that time is running out for diplomatic means to end the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. U.S. Secretary of State Blinken, during his Middle East tour, met with the Prime Minister of Greece and the President of Turkey, expressing concerns about the situation in the Middle East, particularly the border clashes between Israel and Lebanon. He emphasized that an escalation of the conflict may not be in the interest of any party and called for Arab nations to control the situation diplomatically to prevent further deterioration. Simultaneously, a U.S. investigation revealed that Hamas extensively uses Chinese-made light weapons, including submachine guns and grenade launchers. Analysts suggest that these weapons may have been acquired through Iran. The current major concern in the Middle East is the potential spillover of the conflict into Lebanon, and the U.S. is taking action to restrain Israel. These dynamics indicate an escalating tension in the Middle East, requiring heightened vigilance from all parties. News Report 5, China's National Security Agency exposes and breaks up spy case linked to MI6. China's National Security Agency announced on January 8, via WeChat, that it had successfully uncovered a spy case related to MI6, the United Kingdom's secret intelligence service. The agency accused MI6 of using third-country individuals for espionage activities against China. The foreign individual involved was identified as Huang, the head of a consulting firm overseas. According to the disclosure, MI6 developed Huang as a spy in 2015, providing professional intelligence training. Subsequently, Huang was instructed to enter China to engage in espionage and intelligence-gathering activities, alongside recruiting potential turncoats. While China's National Security Agency typically refrains from explicitly naming countries or entities in its WeChat releases, this case specifically implicated MI6. This move indicates China's firm stance on exposing activities that pose threats to national security, showing no tolerance for sycophantic behavior. China's public announcement of revealing espionage activities linked to the UK has garnered international attention. It underscores the extreme importance China places on national security and communicates its determination to safeguard its security interests. News Report 6. Latest influenza monitoring report released by China National Influenza Center. The latest weekly influenza monitoring report released by the China National Influenza Center reveals a significant decrease in the proportion of influenza A and a notable increase in influenza B. As of December 25 to 31 last year, the southern regions recorded a 26% proportion of influenza B, while the northern regions saw a higher percentage of 48%. Symptoms of influenza A and B are similar, including fever, chills, sore throat, cough, and muscle aches. Body temperature can rise to 39 to 40 degrees Celsius, but influenza B symptoms are relatively milder, with some patients experiencing gastrointestinal symptoms. Professor Qian Lelin from Shanghai Jiaotong University Children's Hospital noted a significant increase in influenza B patients, particularly among primary and secondary school students, over the past 2 weeks. He explained that crowded classrooms with poor ventilation could lead to cross-infections. The main treatment for influenza B includes rest and avoiding late nights. Typically, the infection level significantly decreases after 3 days of fever reduction, and students can return to school once they have recovered. However, Qian Lelin does not recommend the public to purchase oseltamivir, Tamiflu, for self-treatment. He emphasizes that rest and a regular lifestyle are more effective preventive measures, and avoiding late nights is a widely recognized healthy habit in Chinese culture. News Report 7. Evergrande Auto Executive Director Liu Yongzhou criminally detained. This morning, Evergrande Auto announced that its executive director Liu Yongzhou has been criminally detained on suspicion of committing a crime. Following the announcement, the company's stock was halted. When trading resumed in the afternoon, Evergrande Auto's stock price plummeted by 23%, closing at 39 cents, a 6% decrease. At 42 years old, Liu Yongzhou joined the Evergrande Group in 2003 and served as a trusted assistant to Su Jiayin, the founder. He became the chairman of Evergrande Football Club in 2010 and the president of Evergrande Auto in 2020. Liu Yongzhuo's last public appearance was on December 26 last year during Evergrande Auto's customer delivery ceremony. It is noteworthy that after the arrest of Su Jiayin on September 28 last year, several executives of Evergrande Group were successively arrested. Liu Yongzhuo's detention may be related to financial issues, marking a new significant development in the ongoing Evergrande crisis. News Report 8. Anti-corruption journalist Shengguan Yunkai sentenced to 15 years on multiple charges. On January 5, the Yicheng District Court in Azhou City, Hubei Province, sentenced Shengguan Yunkai, a journalist formerly working for the Legal Services Times under the Legal Daily, to 15 years in prison on charges of selling counterfeit drugs, picking quarrels and provoking trouble, fraud, and illegal detention. Shengguan Yunkai has been a longtime reporter covering anti-corruption and rights protection, leading to the downfall of over 300 officials and underworld figures due to his reports. Shengguan Yunkai's reporting focused on combating corrupt officials and underworld figures, making him a target for retaliation. In April last year, Azhou police arrested Shengguan Yunkai in Wuhan on charges believed by many to be fabricated. This case has drawn attention and highlights the prevalence of organized crime and corrupt officials in some regions of China. News Report 9. Civil Aviation Administration announces Spring Festival travel plans, Railway introduces new ticket purchase feature. The Civil Aviation Administration announced the plan for the upcoming Spring Festival travel season, which will run from January 26 to March 5, lasting 40 days. During this period, it is expected that air travel will accommodate around 80 million passengers, averaging 2 million passengers per day. National airlines will provide 16,000 daily flights during peak periods expected on February 8, New Year's Eve, February 16, the 4th day of the Lunar New Year, February 20, the 9th day of the Lunar New Year, and February 25, the 16th day of the Lunar New Year. Compared to previous years, this year's Spring Festival holiday has been extended, with family visits and tourism becoming popular travel modes. Popular air routes are concentrated in the Beijing-Tianjin-Hebei region, Yangtze River Delta, Guangdong-Hong Kong-Macau Greater Bay Area, Chengdu-Chongqing urban agglomeration, as well as Sanya, Haikou, Northeast, and Xinjiang, among other tourist destinations. In addition, the Railway Authority has announced that on the first day of Spring Festival travel, January 26, train tickets will be available for purchase starting from January 12. The 12306 mobile app has introduced a new ticket purchase feature allowing passengers to pre-fill information such as traveler details, train number, and seat type on the day tickets go on sale and complete payment with one click. This new feature aims to improve ticket purchasing efficiency, facilitating passengers in arranging their Spring Festival travel plans. News Report 10. China sanctions U.S. defense companies. U.S. Congress reaches agreement on 2024 fiscal budget. On January 7, China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced sanctions on 5 U.S. defense companies in response to U.S. arms sales to Taiwan. The sanctioned companies include Reserve Land-Based Nuclear Weapons Systems, Joint Technology Systems, Aerospace Environmental, Data Link Solution, and Veer SAT. The sanctions freeze their assets in China and prohibit transactions. However, the impact on these companies is considered minimal as the direction of sanctions between China and the U.S. is not reciprocal. On the U.S. Congress front, on January 7, Senate Democratic leader Schumer and House Speaker Johnson announced an agreement on the 2024 fiscal budget, totaling $1.6 trillion, including $886.3 billion for defense spending and $772.7 billion for discretionary spending. The agreement ensures funding for essential welfare expenditures such as veteran health care and supplemental nutrition assistance. The deal faced backlash from conservative factions within the Republican Party, as they sought significant budget cuts. These two pieces of news indicate the ongoing escalation of tensions between China and the U.S., while domestic political divisions in the U.S. persist on budgetary issues.